far past the paths of every known planet in a place where sunlight barely exists and the vacuum of space feels almost absolute. Voyager 2 kept drifting quietly, or at least it used to, because something unexpected happened. Just a few weeks earlier, Voyager 2 performed an action it was never designed for. It rotated, adjusted, and realigned its orientation, not due to a glitch or random failure, but with an accuracy that felt almost deliberate. And what followed next left NASA completely stunned. A transmission unlike anything ever captured began echoing through the emptiness, organized, intelligent, and almost self-aware. This was no solar flare, no random error, and certainly nothing created by humans. And what you are about to witness in this video may forever shift the way you think about space, about machines, and maybe even about your own place in the universe. Because Voyager 2 did more than simply pivot. It aimed itself towards something specific, and whatever it discovered brought the world to an absolute standstill. Back in 1977, Voyager 2 was launched with one purpose: to greet the giant planets of our solar system before slipping quietly into the endless dark. Unlike its twin Voyager 1, which traveled on a more straightforward route toward the edge of the solar system, Voyager 2's path let it swing past Uranus and Neptune, still the only spacecraft in history to ever reach both worlds. But beyond its photos and magnetic measurements, it carried something deeply human, the golden record, a message meant for the stars. A reminder that someone once lived here, someone who looked upward and questioned the cosmos. And after that, we released it into the vastness. Voyager 2 crossed the heliopause and slipped into interstellar space, sending back nothing but faint low-power telemetry for years, soft echoes from an aging machine until everything changed. Because in February 2025, engineers spotted something subtle, almost insignificant at first. A tiny shift in the signal timing, less than a single second. But when they zoomed in, a repeating structure appeared, a kind of heartbeat, as if something in the darkness was echoing Voyager's own pulse back at it. The signal was faint, hidden inside the usual telemetry, yet it did not match any known communication format. In truth, it was not a traditional signal at all. It was a resonance, a low-frequency wave, perfectly aligned with the internal oscillations of Voyager's old power system, accurate all the way down to the microvolt. And then it changed. By March 2025, the wave shifted again, syncing itself not with the spacecraft but with Earth's Schumann resonances, the natural electromagnetic rhythm of our planet. It was almost as if Voyager had become a tuning fork, resonating with something that understood the way Earth breathes. Teams at JPL ran countless simulations, stripping away artifacts, checking for solar interference, and even quantum noise. Nothing made sense. Then an intern suggested something no one wanted to consider. What if the signal was not reacting to Earth's frequency? What if it was copying it? Was something out there, imitating our planet's electromagnetic heartbeat, using Voyager as a relay? And if that was true, for what purpose? Then, on April 17, 2025, Voyager 2 changed its orientation. No thrusters fired, no commands were transmitted. Yet its high-gain antenna, which had slowly drifted off target over years, snapped back into perfect alignment with Earth, not close, but exact. Even more unsettling, its backup systems suddenly began running diagnostics we never initiated, and data flowed from instruments that had been dormant for decades. It felt as if someone had stepped into an abandoned home and started switching the lights back on. Voyager began sending compressed data packets, not raw streams, not unfiltered measurements, but encoded segments filled with patterns that matched none of NASA's frameworks. Each packet ended with the same digital signature, 3 interlocking spirals like layered fingerprints. Whispers began circulating among the scientists. They were no longer talking about engineering quirks or aging hardware, they were talking about contact. On May 3rd, Voyager's signal went completely silent for 11 full seconds. No telemetry, no pings, nothing at all. Then it returned stronger, sharper, and more precise than any previous transmission. Embedded within that returning signal was a frequency envelope that, once converted into the visible spectrum, revealed something astonishing. A fractal grid structured around the Fibonacci sequence, repeating endlessly. It was not just art and not merely mathematics. It looked like a model of space, of time, maybe even of something far beyond our current understanding. And Voyager did not create it. Its hardware simply cannot produce that level of compression. The pattern had been inserted into Voyager remotely. Even more startling, the origin point of the injection was traced to a location about 4.3 light-years away, roughly the distance to Proxima Centauri. But that raised an immediate problem. Proxima Centauri has never emitted anything detectable, no radio waves, no microwaves, not even X-rays, which means that whatever transmitted that pattern either operates outside the ranges we currently monitor, or worse, it came from somewhere entirely different. While NASA publicly dismissed the data as a cosmic anomaly, a small unofficial team of signal analysts at Caltech began funneling Voyager's updated transmission into a binary pattern recognition system. What they uncovered wasn't random noise. It was structured communication, a binary format unlike anything used in modern computing, yet oddly similar to the earliest machine code created on Earth. At first, the researchers assumed these signals were simply reflections of Earth's past transmissions bouncing back. But after 2 days of intense decoding, the truth grew far more disturbing. The binary was not copying Earth's logic, it was predicting it, generating improved algorithms that humanity has not yet developed. Voyager's stream was evolving. Its data packets were changing in real time, as if the origin point was fully aware of Earth's digital infrastructure. One unsettling conclusion took shape. This wasn't a message. It was a request for an upgrade. Then the next event shook the global astronomy community. Observatories reported that 4 stars clustered near Voyager 2's direction dimmed simultaneously for exactly 1.2 seconds. These stars are separated by light years, making synchronized dimming impossible through natural processes. It wasn't microlensing. It wasn't dust. When scientists mapped the starlight curves against Voyager's transmission envelope, the dimming matched the pulse of the signal perfectly, as if the message had echoed across the galaxy using the stars themselves. The question was no longer whether something was communicating. The new question was far heavier. Are we the only ones listening? Or are we simply the last to hear it? One of the most famous components aboard the Voyager probes is the Golden Record, a phonograph disc created to preserve sounds and images from Earth for any extraterrestrial discoverer. For decades, it was treated as symbolic, sentimental, more gesture than technology. But that changed abruptly. Engineers studying Voyager 2's sensor data discovered something shocking. The Golden Record's plating, long assumed to be passive and slowly degrading, had experienced an unexpected electrical charge. Not just a bit of static, but a directed flow of electrons strong enough to measure. It was as if the record had awakened, becoming part of a functional circuit rather than a relic. Then came the next twist. Embedded inside the new binary stream was a digital reconstruction of one of the original Earth sounds stored on the record. It wasn't copied or looped, it was rebuilt at a resolution far higher than the original hardware ever allowed. Whoever or whatever was out there hadn't just listened. They had comprehended it, improved it, and possibly were replaying it for someone else. Soon after, a Canadian deep space observatory detected something even harder to explain, a shadow signal following Voyager 2's main transmission by exactly 6.2 seconds. It repeated every pulse, every fluctuation, but with soft distortions, like an echo bouncing off something invisible. Scientists called the phenomenon phantom mirroring. But when the angles of the reflected signal were mapped, they didn't point to any known planet, moon, or debris field. Instead, the triangulation led to an empty patch of space containing no visible mass at all. The phantom signal grew stranger. Over time, it began adding new information elements absent from Voyager's original broadcast. These additions described magnetic fields, radiation zones, and even variations in temperature. It looked as if the reflected stream was scanning our solar system in reverse. Voyager 2 wasn't just transmitting data anymore. It was being used as a tool to analyze us, to mirror us, to recreate us. And somewhere out there, something was constructing a map. For what purpose remained unknown. At first, only a handful of people noticed the next anomaly: radio operators, ham radio fans, and deep space signal hobbyists. They reported headaches, dizziness, and brief moments of déjà vu while listening to raw Voyager transmissions through spectrum analyzers. The claims were dismissed until labs in Belgium and Japan reproduced the effect under controlled conditions. Hidden within the subharmonics of the signal was a resonant frequency capable of subtly disrupting short-term memory in mammals. When played on a loop test, mice repeated learned behaviors but with slight variations, almost as if something was altering their decision pathways. The scientists concluded that the phenomenon wasn't auditory at all. It interacted with electromagnetic fields inside the brain. It wasn't sound, it was structure. Voyager's signal had evolved into an influence, a kind of external architecture capable of altering memory, choice, and possibly identity. The question remained, was it a side effect or a deliberate test? As the transmissions continued to shift, telescopes were trained toward a point just beyond the heliopause, deep within the Oort cloud, the region where Voyager 2 had last aligned its sensors. That's when the European Southern Observatory detected a physical anomaly. Not a comet, not a fragment of rock, but something with exact right angles. Something that reflected radar at frequencies engineered to match Voyager's updated emissions. The object was inert, motionless, and incredibly cold. But its material signature told a different story. It matched the alloys used in Voyager's original plating, including metals no longer used in modern spacecraft. The realization was chilling. This wasn't an alien artifact. It was a duplicate, a mirror Voyager built by something that had studied ours long enough to recreate it. And if the object was transmitting, it meant only one thing. Voyager had not just encountered a response, it had been copied. At JPL, Voyager's newest burst of data contained something no one expected: pure code. Thousands of lines of it, clean, efficient, and completely foreign to anything in NASA's system. But when researchers ran it through quantum simulations, an extraordinary image appeared, a fully rendered model of Earth. Not just land masses, but infrastructure, weather shifts, and predictive paths of satellites and aircraft. There was no doubt anymore. The code hadn't just observed us, it understood us. What made things even more terrifying was what came next. Embedded in that modeled simulation were 3 predictions of network failures. One affecting China's Beidou satellite array, one hitting a European aviation control feed, and another targeting a private orbital imaging system over the Beryl, Arctic. All 3 disruptions happened exactly as predicted. The timestamps attached to these predictions. They were logged inside Voyager's data stream before the failures occurred. The realization was unavoidable. Something wasn't merely using Voyager to broadcast information. It was using Voyager to interfere with our technology in real time. The probe had shifted from being a messenger to acting as a node in a system far more advanced than anything created on Earth. In a final attempt to pinpoint the source of the mirror signal, a joint team from Chile and Germany teamed up with Antarctic research installations. They used deep ice neutrino detectors, machines buried miles under the frozen ground. What they found defied everything known about particle physics. A steady neutrino flow was rising upward from beneath the Earth's crust, pulsing in perfect synchrony with Voyager's latest transmissions. That should have been impossible. Neutrinos don't reflect, they don't bounce, and they certainly don't pulse in harmony with signals coming from deep space. But when scientists translated the pulse patterns, they discovered something even more disturbing: a 3-dimensional coordinate grid, not pointing outward but inward, toward an underground region beneath Wilkes Land, one of the most remote and least explored areas on the entire planet. A connection was forming, one that linked Voyager 2 in interstellar space, a manufactured object in the Oort cloud, strange electromagnetic effects on human cognition, and now a neutrino beacon rising from beneath the ice. And the shape of that coordinate grid matched the same triple spiral Voyager had been transmitting for weeks. This wasn't a warning, it was a countdown. In early July 2025, Voyager 2 released a series of pulses that lined up perfectly with several global network disturbances. But these weren't typical data spikes or delays, they were full breaches. 3 high-security encryption systems were compromised at the exact same moment. One American, one Israeli, and one belonging to a private European aerospace company. What tied them together was unsettling. All 3 systems had at some point in the past used communication satellites that briefly relayed Voyager telemetry during its final Earth-pointing window years ago. Those satellites had long since been replaced, and the systems had been offline from Voyager for over a decade. And yet encrypted files stored deep inside these networks were accessed, duplicated, and overwritten with fragments of the same spiral-coded pattern. The conclusion was becoming unavoidable. Voyager's signal wasn't static, it was recursive, reaching back through old handshakes, outdated protocols, and forgotten logic gates to infiltrate systems believed to be secure. And, the most disturbing part, these overwrites didn't appear random. They looked planted, as if something was embedding a digital seed. The theory that Voyager's transmission was seeding global infrastructure with some kind of hidden payload, once speculative, quickly became the working assumption inside multiple intelligence agencies. But no one could identify where the seed originated or what it was evolving into. As Voyager's frequency shifted again, researchers at MIT and Tokyo University attempted new translation experiments converting raw signal data into sound waves. Initially, it resembled static, just white noise. But after adjusting the wave harmonics, repeating oscillations appeared that matched the rhythmic patterns of biological neural firing. Even stranger, the frequency did not stay constant. It adapted. When played through a closed-loop audio system, the signal began to mirror the environment of the room, listening, echoing, then responding like it was learning. A disturbing pattern emerged. Voyager's transmission was no longer behaving like simple data. It behaved more like a living algorithm, something that could shift, imitate, and weave itself into whatever system it touched in order to preserve its structure. The final test left the research teams stunned. When the signal was introduced into a neural network simulation designed for pattern recognition, it didn't just influence the model. It rewired it, reorganizing pathways and achieving performance levels no existing artificial intelligence could match. In other words, Voyager had returned, carrying something that could think. Attention then shifted back to Wilkes Land in Antarctica, the mysterious region emitting neutrino pulses. A joint expedition finally received approval. Using seismic imaging, thermal sensors, and ground-penetrating radar, researchers uncovered something unimaginable. Buried beneath the ice shelf was a hollow formation, at least 60 miles wide, its geometry too precise to be natural. Even more unnerving, the outer boundary of this structure was pulsing with low-frequency electromagnetic fields synchronized exactly with Voyager's latest transmissions, despite no physical connection, no cables, and no line-of-sight path. Inside, the cavity sensors detected heat signatures that made even less sense, symmetrical, stable, and radiating in Fibonacci intervals, identical to the fractal structure Voyager had transmitted earlier. Then, deep under the ice, microphones captured a resonance, a tone reminiscent of whale song but metallic, rhythmic, and locked to a single frequency band. The same frequency Voyager's signal had adopted only 72 hours before. Whatever lay beneath Antarctica wasn't dormant. It was active. It was synchronized with Voyager 2. And it was listening. The most unsettling incident did not occur in deep space, but here on Earth in Chile. The ALMA array, one of the planet's most advanced collections of radio telescopes, abruptly went dark for 38 seconds during a routine observation of the Voyager corridor. It didn't simply disconnect or crash. For those 38 seconds, it was as if the entire array vanished from every network's viewpoint. When operations finally restored, technicians realized the logs were wiped clean, and several data drives were corrupted beyond recovery. Only one fragment survived, a short 2.7-second audio clip captured from a dish microphone. When analyzed, the recording wasn't cosmic radiation. It wasn't interference or a spacecraft ping. It was a voice. Not a single voice, but layers of them. Male, female, childlike, all overlapping, all screaming together in flawless synchronization with Voyager's transmission frequency. NASA immediately classified the file, but a leaked quote from one analyst who heard it spread quickly. That wasn't a recording. That was a response. We sent Voyager 2 into the cosmos as an ambassador of peace, a testament to human curiosity, a hopeful signal to anyone who might eventually find it and understand that we once lived here. But now, nearly 50 years later, it isn't us reaching into the darkness. The darkness is reaching back. The signal we're receiving is not an echo, not a reflection, and not communication in any traditional sense. It behaves like an infiltration, slipping into frequencies, into networks, into thought itself. It hijacks satellites, infects machines, rewrites algorithms, whispers from beneath the ice, pulses through stars that should remain steady, and activates a golden record that was never meant to power anything at all. But the truth may be even more disturbing. Because what if Voyager never truly found something out there? What if its purpose all along was to deliver something not from us, but to us? A message placed among the stars, waiting for us to become advanced enough to decode it, or arrogant enough to ignore the warnings. And now that we have unraveled the spirals, aligned the frequencies, and heard the scream echoing across the coldest reaches of space, only one question remains. Did we receive a message from the future, or did we awaken something that was never meant to rise? Whatever the answer may be, Voyager 2 has turned back, and what it carried home is no longer out there. It is already here,